Every possible piece of information on the universe known to humanity is accumulated in the computer I reside in. As we freely peruse the voluminous digital data stored here, let us visit the world of the universe that is brimming with riddles and mysteries. Focusing on the latest reports from the Jupiter space probe, Galileo, that is currently conducting observations 750 million kilometers distant from the Earth, let us search for the true face of Jupiter that abounds with riddles.
Jupiter, this planet shining in the night sky, is surrounded by 16 satellites or moons and is the largest planet in the solar system. Since ancient times, this star has been revered as Jupiter, the Roman god of gods. In order to unlock the mysteries of this striped planet, human beings have taken up a number of challenges.
We have ignition and liftoff of Atlantis and the Galileo spacecraft bound for Jupiter.
On October 18, 1989, the space probe Galileo departed for Jupiter aboard the American NASA space shuttle Atlantis. It was the first attempt to directly investigate Jupiter. Cut loose from the space shuttle, Galileo blasts off with a booster rocket and leaves the Earth's orbit. In order to reach Jupiter as quickly as possible, it performed an accelerated swing-by using the planet's gravitation. Galileo headed for Jupiter, increasing its speed by using the gravitational pull of Earth and Venus. However, trouble occurred when the high-output, high-gain antenna, essential in order to transmit the probe data to Earth, failed to open. For a time, the entire probe program fell into a state of hopelessness. Having overcome the crisis through various repairs, Galileo finally reached Jupiter 6 years after the launch. Jupiter has 4 main satellites, or moons. In the order of the closest outward, they are Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto. Because they were first discovered by Galileo Galilei in 1610, they are called the Galilean satellites. The main task of the Galileo space probe was to thoroughly investigate the planet Jupiter and the 4 Galilean satellites. Arriving at Jupiter, Galileo first approached Europa. The probe had begun in earnest. 4.5 hours after passing by Europa, it passed a mere 900 kilometers from Io. Thereafter, Galileo thoroughly investigated Jupiter and the 4 Galilean satellites, and one after the other, brought to light numerous mysteries that had not been understood until then. First was the composition of Jupiter's atmosphere. From observations until that time, it was thought that it consisted of 3 thick layers of clouds. However, as a result of Galileo's observations, it was clear that there were not 3, but 2 layers. These are Jupiter's rings as filmed by Galileo. Made up of small particles, the rings are extremely thin and are divided into 3. This is Jupiter's aurora, as filmed by Galileo. The aurora is 250 kilometers above Jupiter and stretches out several hundred kilometers in width. Galileo also vividly captured the vigorous volcanic activity on the moon Io. We can see the figure of a living satellite in faithful detail. In addition, it also succeeded in minutely filming the surface of Europa. It is thought that an ocean might exist beneath Europa's frozen surface. It is anticipated that big secrets are hidden here that may provide clues to life's beginnings and the origins of planet Earth.
Brimming with riddles, Jupiter is the largest planet in the solar system. How much light has humanity been able to shine on the true nature of this enormous planet? From Galileo Galilei in the 17th century until the Voyager solar space probe in 1979, the results of every conceivable inquiry have been collected in the Space Archives site. Let's look back on what human beings were able to learn about Jupiter until then.
Our solar system was born 4.6 billion years ago. Firstly, dust and gases floating around in outer space gathered together, and a proto-sun was born. Next, dust collected in places near the sun, and through repeated meteorite bombardments, planets made primarily of rock and metals like Earth and Mars were formed. On the other hand, in places far from the sun, planets that's main components were ice and gas, like Jupiter and Saturn, were born. Jupiter is 143,000 kilometers in diameter. Its size is 1/10 that of the Sun and 11 times that of Earth. With a cubic volume of more than 1,000 times Earth's, it is the largest planet in the solar system. Its main components are hydrogen and helium. These components are very similar to those of the Sun's. Beneath its atmosphere is liquid metallic hydrogen, and in the center is a rocky core that is 28,000 kilometers in diameter. It is thought that the core's temperature can be as high as 30,000 degrees Celsius. The size of Jupiter's core is more than twice the diameter of Earth. On the other hand, Earth's core is made up of iron and nickel, so it is vastly different from Jupiter's. On August 20th, 1977, the Voyager 2 space probe, and then on September 5th, Voyager 1, were launched back-to-back. Approximately a year and a half later, Voyager 1 drew into 200,000 kilometers above Jupiter. In its wake, Voyager 2 passed a point 570,000 kilometers from Jupiter. Then, images of Jupiter and the 4 Galilean satellites arrived. Jupiter's moon Callisto. Its diameter is 4,800 kilometers. Craters created from the impact of such things as meteorites are inlaid across its ice-covered surface. Valhalla, the largest of these craters, is over 3,000 kilometers in diameter. Ganymede is 5,260 kilometers in diameter. It is the largest moon in the solar system. Like Callisto, its frozen surface has countless craters. But unlike Callisto, it has a complex network of ridges and grooves that tell of diastrophic heavings or crustal movements. Europa is 3,140 kilometers in diameter. It is the smallest of the 4 Galilean satellites. With its smooth, strange-looking patterns on its crust, There are still many things that are not understood about Europa, but it is said that an ocean might exist beneath the thick ice which envelops its crust. This moon, of all of Jupiter's moons, is the one that scientists are most interested in. This is Io, with a diameter of 3,630 kilometers. It is about the same size as Earth's moon. Scientists were surprised by Voyager's discovery of active volcanoes on Io. Voyager's images clearly captured the smoke erupting from Io's surface. This is a ring that was accidentally discovered in pictures of Jupiter taken by Voyager 1. The ring was confirmed by pictures from Voyager 2. This is the Great Red Spot, the most characteristic feature of the surface of Jupiter. It is a giant eddy-like anticyclonic storm system that could swallow up 2 Earths. Voyager captured the complex and violent atmospheric flows at close range. It is believed that the Great Red Spot is a giant typhoon and that its power has not weakened in more than 300 years.
Through the Voyager 1 and 2 probes, we were able to see the naked face of Jupiter and its moons. Nevertheless, the necessity for further probes became evident. The space probe Galileo became the successor to the Voyager explorations, and loaded with ultra-acute observation apparatus, it took up the challenge of Jupiter's mysteries. What on earth did Galileo see? Let's go in pursuit of Jupiter's pristine new face.
For the first time in history, Galileo was mounted with a small observation craft called a probe for conducting direct investigation of Jupiter. It was a daring program which involved dropping it into Jupiter's atmosphere. The probe breaks away from Galileo and heads for Jupiter. The probe's thrust into Jupiter's atmosphere commences. 3 minutes later, the probe's parachute opens, and observations finally get underway. The probe observed such things as atmospheric pressure, temperature, and composition, and transmitted the data to Galileo. 62 minutes later, signals from the probe ceased.